Loki is almost over.
The Jedi are taking over!
This week we'll get episode 5 of Loki, and then after that it's only one more episode, and then this Disney Plus show is gone. Let's do our second to last preview video, this being the preview video for Loki episode 5. And if you're new to our Loki previews, we will talk rumors and leaks, but we'll do that later on in the video, and we'll be sure to give you plenty of warning before we talk any potential spoilers. So when we look ahead to Loki episode 5, it's really all about that post-credit scene, Mang, with all of these different Loki variants. This was a crazy moment.
Wow, bro. That's crazy.
And it takes place right after our Loki gets pruned. It was this really emotional moment at the end of episode 4 where he gets pruned right in frickin' front of Sylvie. And we thought he was dead, even though we saw more of him in the trailers and things that we hadn't seen in the show yet. But no, he's not dead. He wakes up in a post-credit scene, which is an interesting choice, but I thought was awesome. He wakes up and is greeted by other variants. He says, "Am I dead?" And the other variants answer back, "No, but you will be soon if you don't come with us." So the speculation and the theories and everything is all about what is going on with these different variants. Is it the case that whenever someone is pruned, they show up at a weird limbo type world like this? Is this a world made up of all Loki variants? Are there variants of other people on this world? Does each person that gets pruned as a variant have their own planet? So there's a whole bunch of Owen Wilsons on one planet, a whole bunch of Lady Sivs, a whole bunch of Tony Starks all on one planet. Is that a thing? The only things we know for sure that these are all Loki variants, and we have seen in some of the marketing material, including this very famous shot here with Loki with the Vote for Loki president pin. People call him President Loki. So we've seen that shot before, and interesting in that sequence from what we see in the trailer, our Loki or the Prime Loki variant is still there with his sleeves rolled up. So that's not our Loki as president. So it might be the case that this is a place where a ton of Loki variants are. Some of them are very similar to our Loki, and some of them are obviously very different. Like the freaking crocodile. What's the deal with the crocodile? I must know what's going on with this. And so fans are quite keen on finding out what all of that means, and everybody's going to be paying close attention to anything that the Loki variants tell Loki here, any place they go. It's, possible explanations here for what Marvel is doing in the future, not only with their What If show with different variant versions of characters we know from the MCU, which that's really starting to feel like that's what If is going to be, but also potentially in Spider-Man No Way Home, as I was quite surprised that many fans still didn't believe the Tobey or Andrew rumors right up until seeing the post-credit scene for Loki last week and being like, dang, so I guess this variant thing is real. Wow, maybe those Spider-Man 3 rumors are real, and Tobey and Andrew are going to show up. By the way, I've thought that for a long time. I can't believe all you doubters out there, but I guess we did get boner, didn't we?
Boner.
So again, fans are going to be paying attention to this whole Loki variant Limbo World situation. What is the deal with this? Is this possibly an explanation for what's going on in Spider-Man No Way Home? And again, not necessarily a spoiler here, but Alfred Molina, when he was talking about Spider-Man No Way Home and when he did that big spoiler about how he is in it, he said the film for him and that character picks up right after the moments in the New York Bay where he kills himself. And so he dies, and right after that is just woken up in that universe. And in that same interview, Alfred Molina literally says that John Watts told him when talking about the movie that nobody dies in this universe. What if he was being literal? What if everybody that dies shows up to some weird limbo world and Loki isn't actually being pruned and it's all having to do with all the prunes, but instead it's just something to do with death in the multiverse? I don't know. But the point being, many people feel that the explanation behind this may have something to do with Spider-Man No Way Home, with the What If series, and what is going on with Marvel in general, as a lot of people like me think we're heading towards Secret Wars, man. We are going to some crazy multiverse Secret Wars stuff. I hope to see the friggin' Tom Cruise Iron Man. I really hope that rumor's true. And speaking of that post-credit scene, I think a lot of Marvel fans are also wondering, what's the deal with Mobius? He also gets pruned in the same scene that Loki does, and then we see Loki show up with his variant versions. Is there a variant world of Agent Mobius? Is he going to be greeted by a bunch of different Mobiuses? I mean, technically, we do see some shots in some of the trailers of Mobius that we haven't yet seen in the actual show, leading us to believe that, yeah, Mobius will be in some of episode 5 and 6, but we don't know if it's a variant version of Mobius. Like, maybe Loki gets out of that limbo world, finds Mobius, takes him out of a timeline, and then brings a variant of Mobius to then finish the job. Or maybe it's our Mobius, who again will be brought back from the timeline due to the same weird thing that happened with Loki. Either way, the general feeling and consensus among Marvel fans is that Mobius, Loki, maybe Sylvie as well, are all going to find their way out of the predicaments they're in and come back to the TVA to meet up with Ravonna and maybe find out who is actually in charge of the TVA. And real quick, before we get into some of the stuff that's being speculated about, I just want to talk about the fact that we're really not sure what's going on with Sylvie. Sylvie has not been seen in a lot of the marketing material past the episode that we've seen her in right here, right? They mostly hid her in general, so we don't actually know if she's going to pop up or make it to the end. Is she going to escape Ravonna and the TVA? Is she going to be held prisoner at this point that we leave her at with the Timekeepers? What exactly is going to be happening with Sylvie? Is the actual person in charge of the TVA just going to come out, shock Sylvie, and just take over or something crazy like that? Who knows exactly? But there are a lot of fans that really like Sylvie and probably want her to remain after this show in the MCU, so we'll have to be keeping an eye out for that. All right, so now let's talk about the biggest freaking thing for the whole show, the big thing that Marvel fans are focused on, and that would be who's actually behind the TVA, right? Sylvie and Loki, they confront the Timekeepers, and then they get revealed to be big robot things. They chop the head off of one. It was really weird, and we all saw it coming. But it was a Wizard of Ozing type moment for Sylvie and Loki, and maybe Ravonna. I guess one of the questions is, did Ravonna believe in the Timekeepers? Was she also being duped, or is she somehow in on what is actually going on with the TVA? The fact that she was trying to remove the agents that had been compromised or woken up to the reality of their actual past kind of leads people to believe that she probably knew the Timekeepers and the whole TVA was predicated on a lie, meaning she might have something to do with what's going on behind the scenes. But we do see scenes of her as an agent with young Sylvie, and there was a different judge, and she's clearly worked her way up to the position that she's at. So who knows? Maybe she gets turned, maybe she had something to do with it the whole time, but it's not that likely that she's actually pulling all of the strings. On a side note from the whole Ravonna and who's behind the TVA thing, one of my favorite theories with Ravonna, it's actually one that I think I invented. It's actually hard to remember. I read a lot of Reddit and do a lot of YouTube streaming. Regardless, this theory's dope, man, and it would be that Ravonna is actually a variant of Kang, and in the same way that Sylvie and Loki were attracted to each other as male and female variants, that might have happened with Kang and Ravonna and sent a crazy timeline off of the sacred timeline that now they are defending as the sacred timeline or something. But yeah, Ravonna as a Kang variant, I would actually love it. I think it would be great. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section. As far as other theories for who's behind the TVA, a really weird one popped up, and this is that it would be Miss Minutes in charge of the TVA. This is so weird, but it comes basically from the fact that a lot of the people that are involved with the show, like producers, writers, etc., have hinted at Miss Minutes having a huge part to do with the story and having a very interesting backstory. We haven't seen any of that yet, so if that is indeed going to be in the show, it might have to revolve around the TVA and the creation of the TVA itself, so maybe Miss Minutes is somehow in charge of the TVA. I feel like a lot of fans are going to be pissed if that's actually the case. I mean, I would be a little upset. I'd be like, what the frick? This stupid digital clock AI thing would taken over? Where's Kang? On a small side note, though, again, just because it's kind of fun flavor, my favorite theory with this is that the Miss Minutes, whatever she is actually an extension of that Hydra AI that we see developed in Captain America Winter Soldier, right? Where Hydra's trying to future-proof for their own existence and take out all these people that the algorithm thinks are going to be threats. What if the extension of that in some variant timeline becomes Miss Minutes and takes over the timeline itself? that would be bananas. But the biggest thing, the biggest theory that everybody has is, of course, Kang the Conqueror being the one behind the TVA. And I've seen a lot of different feelings about this. There's some Marvel fans that feel strongly that Kang will be revealed. There's a lot of Marvel fans that feel like it's obvious that he won't actually be the one behind the TVA and that we would have seen him teased more heavily than we have by now. And I will just say, I guess, light spoiler, leakage, rumor, warning. If you don't want to know any of that kind of stuff, get out of here now. But, having said that, it does appear that a lot of the insiders that have info on this show are saying that Kang is going to be a part of it. I'm talking mostly about Charles Murphy, who has indicated he knows how the show ends, and he's very confident that Kang will be shown in the show in one way or another. There were also reports by separate scoopers that broke last week that said that Jonathan Majors would indeed be showing up in Loki as Kang the Conqueror, and just over this July 4th weekend, Jonathan Majors broke some of social media, some of the nerdy social media out there when he posted from a comic book shop holding a Kang the Conqueror comic book. Kind of weird and timely, some people are saying. I also just want to bring up again that the fact that Loki existing as a project after a lot of the things that happened in 2020 and the shuffling around of the scheduling and changing things that Marvel Studios had done, I strongly feel that Loki is more or less exactly the show Marvel wanted it to be, and it's really going to set up a lot of big things for the future of the MCU. Kang the Conqueror, I think, being one of them. He's already been announced as a big villain for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And Quantumania and this whole quantum multiverse time craziness, it seems like this is going to be a huge play for Marvel Studios. Again, even attached to Spider-Man No Way Home. I really think we're going to a bananas crazy multiverse crossover bonanza when it comes to the MCU, and I think Kevin Feige has been downplaying that fact and potentially even holding back marketing material for Sony's Spider-Man No Way Home because he wants this to be unraveled within Loki and then speculated on as we move forward towards the big Spider-Man marketing push. So there's some slight rumorage / insider information out there that suggests that Kang will be in there. Who knows for sure? And I know we're living in a weird world right now. I will also say that from what I've been told from the people that I talk to, different scoopers, insiders, writers, whatever, they've been telling me that Marvel's super protective of their Disney Plus shows. Specifically, there's something going on with the Disney Plus shows where they're really, really trying to tighten stuff up, and they're not even giving out full seasons anymore to journalists, right? So most people only got to see the first 2 episodes. I don't think they're giving early screeners for any of the back half of the season, just letting everybody experience it all together. And part of that is because of spoilers. They want to keep that stuff close to the chest. And so, hey, we're just doing the best we can, nerdvenging out here, trying to speculate, trying to see what's out there, see what the different insiders are saying. But ultimately, we're just going to sit back and enjoy the show like the rest of you. So make sure you stop on by for our watch party that we're going to be doing over on our live streaming channel, 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Wednesday morning / Tuesday night for Loki Wednesdays. Get up really crazy early with us and watch episode 5 so that you don't get spoiled. Check it out with us live on our live streaming channel. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.